Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into a fun and creative project using masking fluid in an applicator to make a stunning spider's web with watercolors. So stick around to see how you can easily create an intricate design with this amazing technique. Let's get started. Hello there, welcome to this video. I'm going to be painting in my Hahnemuhle watercolor sketchbook, and it is from a series of art prompts called Bring Spring. Bring Spring is a creative prompts list that I take part in every year with other teachers, and we get everybody to try and join in over the course of May, and each person has to try and create 10 images. It's an art challenge that takes place over on Instagram, and loads of people take part with many prizes to be given out. And in each of these I have used masking fluid. Here I have used a bit of wax resist, and I did use masking fluid in some of these areas here. And this was actually a Patreon session called Secret Garden Gate, where I used wax there, but I had this spare page and I thought it would be good to fill this up with one of the prompts called Spiderweb. And for that I want to use masking fluid, but in a special way. I bought this masking fluid applicator from Jackson's, and what makes it so special is it comes with this point which acts almost like a needle, a syringe needle, and you put the masking fluid in this container and you squeeze it out, and that's what I'm hoping to put on the paper to act as the web. Wish me luck with this, because I've not used a version like this where you pour it in yourself, so I'm just going to pour a little bit in there. It was quite easy. Put the lid on. Something that I've got to do is just do a basic pencil outline before I start applying this. I always go to Pinterest first. I typed in spiderweb photography and you get all sorts coming up, but I want something with a spring-like vibe. I love this colouring, and I might do something similar to that. I like that some of it is out of focus, but I won't be copying it exactly because the photographer will own the copyright. So I'll probably do an amalgamation of this one combined with a few others. As you can see, I've already put some washi tape down so that I get a clearer edge, and I'm going to start drawing the spider web. I think I'll start with, I don't know what you call them, spokes. These are really just guidelines to help me to work out where to put the masking fluid. This is just a mechanical pencil with a bee lead. I'm not filling in every line, I'm concentrating on the edges so that I know roughly whereabouts to put the masking fluid. I've drawn only the basic outline. I don't want to fill it all in because it's pretty much a case of just following the contours of these spokes that I've drawn in. And let's give this a little go. Oh gosh, there's already a bit coming out of there. So I'm gonna, oh, I think, it's coming out quite fast. So I think I'm gonna have to angle my the needle so it doesn't come pouring out quickly. There's this little bubble at the beginning, but you know, it's not the end of the world. I can live with this. I am wondering if I filled up this applicator with too much masking fluid, as it was coming out at quite a speed, so that's something that I will note for future. I think I need to start with a few lines in the middle as well. You know what might help is if I just went round there's no way to control that coming out. I'm Omar. I'm an artist, illustrator, author and also online teacher. I do have a class called Master Masking Fluid and it's on Skillshare, but also it'll be on my own platform very soon. Please go check it out. It's in the description below if you want more information about using masking fluid. For this spider web in particular, I wanted to use this rather than a paintbrush because I think even with a tiny paintbrush it would have taken quite a considerable amount of time. I normally use one by a company called Fine Liner or Fine Line, and I just couldn't find it today. I was rummaging around and I prefer that one to this Jackson's version. It's a lot finer and I wouldn't have this issue with the blobs as far as I can remember. Sometimes when we make art we are faced with unforeseen challenges and we just have to work our way through them rather than getting overly frustrated, because that will just lead to a piece that takes even longer to complete. These other webs I can see where it attaches itself to the lavender, I think it is, and I'm just going to apply a few other areas of masking fluid because the reference that I'm using, there's a little bit of light area in the background, so oh gosh, that is so blobby in the middle. This is what it looks like. I'm unsure how it's gonna turn out when I peel it off, but have to let this dry fully now and then we can paint on top of it. Now that it's dry, it looks like this. Well, most of it is dry apart from these blobby areas here, but I am getting a little bit impatient. Ideally I should wait for this to dry completely so it looks like the rest of it, but I really want to get a move on with the watercolor. I'm really taken by this colouring here, the purple violet against some of this green and pink, so I'm going to try and echo that in this piece here. So first of all, let's start off with that deep purple. I think this is Winsor & Newton. Could probably be a little bit darker than that even. I'm just going to use a different brush. I want to add even darker areas, so I've got the Payne's grey. I'm going to mix that up in there, and some of this will also have to be green, I think. In the reference photos that I'm using, the background is unfocused, so I'm using a big brush to block out this background, and this technique is perfect for laying down broad strokes and setting that stage for the rest of the painting. There is no need for details at this stage. Just cover that area with your base color of the dark blues and greens and also the lighter values. This is what the surface of the paper looks like. There is a lot of watercolor pigment standing on top of that paper. That's just the way I like to work sometimes, and it's going to take a little while to dry. It will be a lot lighter, it won't be as vivid as this, and hopefully when it dries it's going to create some lovely effects. Right, let's start up here. I'm using this thing called a mask away, and it's just made out of some sort of solid gum. You can use a razor. That's coming off quite nicely actually. I think this section is was applied fairly late, so there seems to be less of those blobs. But we're now getting to a part which was definitely more blobby. It's something that I might have to, go back in with the watercolour, but it's looking pretty good. I am trying to be as gentle as possible when rubbing off this masking fluid with the cement eraser, and do avoid using nails or sharp objects that can tear at the paper. Please be patient and work slowly. I must admit, I did have my reservations about how successful this was going to be, just because it came out so gloopy, but I can fix some of this. There is a lot of the detail had been lost in the middle of the spider's web, so I'm just going to use greeny purple. I've still got some on my palette here, and fill in the spaces here, just using a small brush. When I mean fill in, I'm talking about the background, the best that I can, really. It still gives a really good impression of a spider's web, I feel. Yeah, that looks really good. That looks really, really good. Pleased with that, and just continue it a little bit more in this section here. I tipped my sketchbook sideways, and some of the masking fluid had pooled, and it just went sideways as well. So you've got these runoffs, let's say. They don't look too bad. I'm just going to deal with a few of these blobs. I don't think the blobs are awful, because in some ways they look a little bit dewy, I suppose. I find them a little bit too distracting from the main web. So I'm just going to fill some of these extra parts in here. Where else? Here. It's not taking very long. Here maybe. A few of these areas I've missed out with the original application of the masking fluid completely. So I've got a fine liner here that I'm just going to quickly pop a few lines back in. On the original reference photo, there seems to be sort of an ombre effect on the spider's web, which I quite like. It still, reads, I think it reads really well as a web, but it's quite stark, and I just want to tone that down a bit. So I'm going to move, just fill in a few more gaps here. So this is the Pentel gel pen. If you're enjoying this video, please do leave a comment, like and subscribe to my channel. And if you join my Patreon group, you will be able to access more process videos like this. Okay, and the ombre effect, I want to sort of make it more of a lilac in the middle section. Yeah, that's nice. It just tones it down slightly. And maybe a tiny bit of yellow. Oh, I think I put on too much water. It's taking off some of that watercolor in the background. It's always really handy to have a paper towel nearby to soak up some excess spillages like this. I've decided what would look good would be to add a few more sort of indications of greenery that's going in front of the spider's web, just to give it a little bit more context. I wanted to take a moment to talk about something I feel is important. On Instagram, we often only see the finished piece, and it's easy to assume that everything went perfectly. But unless you watch videos like this one, you might not realize there were many parts that just didn't go to plan. For example, I don't think these strokes are quite right. They're too tight and too small, and that's okay. I have just learnt to adapt and embrace those imperfections as part of the process. And I really wish this was talked about more, so we can all appreciate that journey, not just the final result. Sometimes there is no way to avoid that messy middle. Every mistake is a lesson, and that's what makes art so rewarding and personal. I must admit, I was in two minds about whether to start this piece all over again because of the nature of the masking fluid that was coming out of that applicator, but it's turned out pretty well. There's a lovely light. I can sense that it was a beautiful sunny day of those sort of light effects happening in the background, which is out of focus. Thanks for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new about working with masking fluid and watercolours. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips and projects. Leave a comment below with your thoughts and share your own experiences of using masking fluid. Until next time, stay amazing.